21, which is also an action item. The County Advisory Board to Manage Wildlife Budget Adjustments, Fiscal Year 2011. ASO 3, Dale Hansen.
For the record, this is Patrick Cates. I'm filling in for Dale Hansen. We figured I could cover this one. You should have distributed to you a report titled County Advisory Boards to Manage Wildlife Budget Status Report that was passed out this morning to all the members, and I believe all the CAB members. If anybody needs a copy, there should be some on the back table. When the Commission approved budgets for the CABs, we were going to come back with information about how much money they spent in the prior fiscal year to see if there was any adjustments that were needed to those authorized budgets. So this report shows you the information of what each CAB spent last year. I will say this information, we started, I guess, about a month ago and sent out reports to all the county controllers trying to get these categorized expenses totaled for us and worked with the counties. Some of them were very good and they filled out all the information. We had a couple who didn't respond. Some kind of gave us their own reports. A few of them gave us a trial balance, which gave us a total expenditure, but not the breakdown we were looking for. So it's kind of preliminary information, but it gives us something to go on. Based on that information, the CABs in total spent a little over $31,000 last year. The Commission approved budgets for the CABs totaling $46,000. At this point, based on the preliminary information that we have, I personally didn't see a need for any budget augmentations other than for Lyon County. They clearly are in need of an augmentation based on the minimal amount that was approved for them. I will say that the $46,000 that the Commission authorized has been dispersed in total to the CABs, to the counties, and we generally do that. We give them the full amount that's authorized, and then they report at the end of the year if they have a balance, that balance carries forward. So you can see to the right of the salmon-colored column there, that's their ending balance. So that tells you the county has some money in the bank. What I wanted to give CAB members any opportunity if they think they need a budget augmentation to come up. But what I would recommend, since we have kind of preliminary information from the CABs, is that in addition to anything anybody may want to ask for here, that we bring this back to the next Commission meeting and give the CABs themselves a little time to look at their own finances, give us a little time to work some more with the counties to try to get some finalized numbers. But at this point, my recommendation would be the $908 augmentation for Lyon County. And with that, I'll be happy to ask any questions, or if you want to invite the CABs up to speak to this issue.
Commission have any questions?
I got a question, Patrick. Why are you requesting 908? Because ending balance is at zero or just not available for Lyon County?
They have no ending balance. They had no money, and they were authorized for $1,100, but they spent $2,000 last year. So the authorized amount's pretty low. And actually, if you look at what they spent last year, like the travel category for Lyon County, they only charged $515. That's one member to go on one trip, one commission meeting, instead of all the commission meetings. So even that's a pretty nominal amount. They do use a secretary. That's the operating costs to prepare their minutes. But I mean, it looks to me like they had a pretty lean budget last year. They spent $2,000. They were only authorized for $1,100 this year. So that one I was concerned about, that they would not have enough money to participate this year.
Further questions from the Commission? Okay, questions, CABs, yes. Mr. Jennings, and then go with the others.
Jim Janae, Lyon County Game Board. On this 908, I hate to tell you, is not going to do it. As of right now, we are $600 short. We have an $800 bill outstanding, and he has not turned it in yet for his trip to Vegas. So we're holding on that. I figured out for the February through June, we're gonna need at least $4,500. We have basically 250 a month going out for secretary. It's been, and part of it is my fault. What's happened is the secretary, when we changed from one chairman to another and Joe went on to the commission, he had never carried the secretary. He thought that the county commission was carrying it. I got in there and we get nothing, and it's gotta be straightened out. We're getting nothing from the controller. So I have no idea of how we stand, except at the end of the year, when I got some money left over, and I put in for my new budget. Well, okay, with what's there, I'll go it this way. And we've done this, well, 6 years? And all of a sudden this year, I called the secretary, and she says, what's going on? I don't have any money for this next meeting. And I says, well, let me find out. So I called the controller. Controller says, well, we got $400 in here is all we got. Well, I went to check, and this year, when I got my budget, or requested it, they subtracted what I had left. Well, there were 3 or 4 outstanding
Okay.
issues at that time.
I'm thinking
So-
the resolution to this matter is we need to have you speak with Mr. Cates and come up and see if there's anything we need to adjust on here, because that's basically getting into the level where the commission needs to have you guys work it out.
We discussed this issue yesterday, and I mean, given what I was talking about, how they really haven't even charged the trips they've been taking, I don't think his request is unreasonable at all.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm comfortable with that. Any
Is this the
questions?
request?
I'm sorry?
Is this figure their request? or-
No, what you were asking for 4,000, what was your exact amount?
4,500.
4,500
Right.
additional.
Okay.
This, now, clarification, because I'm ignoring the Wendover trip if it winds up, and I'm also ignoring the legislative meetings at this time, because I don't know that they're coming to pass, so I'm not putting them in there, but that's gonna be another charge. And so,
Okay.
I'll have to be back.
Good, Mr. Yannick, and then Mr. Dixon.
For the record, Gil Yannick, Carson Advisory Board. An issue that was brought up by the Finance Committee one of the last meetings I attended to, hopefully the implementation of a standardized budgeting process by all the cabs will kind of bring some of these things to light and eliminate the surprises to both the department and to the cabs. The other comment I wanted to make was that there's talk about a joint meeting with the state of Utah, their wildlife commission, and none of us have budgeted for that. So I heard talk it may be in Wendover. So we need to start implementing, our budgets are going to be due for the next year pretty soon, but at the same time, that's going to fall into the current fiscal year, and we don't have any money set aside for that joint meeting. So stand by for augmentation for all the cabs for that particular meeting, once it gets solidified and we know what and when and how long. Thank you.
Thank you. Question?
Gil?
Yes.
If I recall, at one meeting, you have a very good system that has been set up, and that was recognized. I think Mr. Cates made some comments on it. And you had offered to work with any of the cabs that, wanted to implement that. Have you had any contact from them?
There's a couple of cabs that, there's probably about 5 or 6 cabs that over the years have asked me for a copy of the software. And recently, Elko asked me for a copy, so they have it now. I've given it to Lyon County. So I just think that if it becomes mandatory, so we're all singing out of the same hymnal, there'd be some standardization for the department, at least when they try to do a review and be able to put all this together in a format that everybody can understand. And once the cabs get used to using that, it'll be much easier for them to control their cost and come up with what their anticipated costs will be when they make their budget. I also have an expense account form that I've made up that they can use also if they'd like. So again, when people take a trip or, come to a meeting, again, it's standardized and it's allocated, and it makes going further, or let's say going forward, that much easier for them.
Mr. Chairman, that ought to be on a agenda item at some point in time, discuss making that a requirement.
Yeah, we're on track to do that. And I apologize, we're a little bit behind schedule. I was hoping to get something out, but I'm short staffed and working on budget issues for the legislature. But part of what we did is send reports to the controllers that were standardized for them to report actual expenses to us, and that's the start of that. And that's why I asked that we put this on the next agenda item. I'm sure by that time we can have some standardized reports for the cabs to develop next year's budgets, as well as give them some time to look at where they're at this year. So we definitely are committed to doing that. We're just a little behind where I wanted to be getting it done.
Okay, we had a question from,
I had a question.
What?
We brought it up, and it's hard for us to make these decisions without a standardized, and he's got a system, and I think we're just going to make it mandatory to the cabs to do, so we can get it. And I agree with you. Let's put it on the next agenda, but let's see a standardized form and make it mandatory to the cabs, so one's not doing this, one's not doing this, so we can understand it.
Yeah.
And put things in the right perspective, and that's what we directed Gil to get everybody on the same board with you, and so
Right.
let's get it done.
Yeah. It just take a little work. Like I said, the numbers I have here are from a standardized report, and I had my staff even personally calling county controllers trying to get the numbers, and it was kind of hit or miss what we got. So
all right, Mr. Powell.
it'll take a little work and
Question?
training.
I've got a question for Patrick. The video conferencing that we talked about,
Uh-huh.
Elko, Vegas, and Reno,
Yes.
how close are we?
We haven't made much progress on that. I got 2 IT people, and we were having some issues over the last few months with network connectivity, and we actually did a massive upgrade of our copy machines and brought in a bunch of Xerox copiers, which actually saved us a lot of money. It cut our copy lease expenses in half. Unfortunately, we had a tremendous amount of technical problems with it, and my 2 IT people spent their time doing that rather than trying to figure out the video conferencing. They have been talking to the university about connectivity in this office. One of our problems isn't just buying the equipment, it's actually having enough bandwidth to support video conferencing. We have 1 T-line at this location, and that's not sufficient. And we had been working with Department of Information Technology to get a microwave uplink that looked really promising, and then at the 11th hour, after we had been working with them for 6 months and they said all systems were go, they came around and said, oh no, our tower's full, we can't accommodate you. So we had to go back to the drawing board. We're now talking to the university about getting into their fiber optics line. So that's one of our hurdles. I say it's one thing to buy the equipment, but if we don't have enough bandwidth to support it, it won't work. So my staff got sidetracked with some other issues. We ran into some technical hurdles. We're still working on it, but unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that one just yet.
We have limited capability right now, but not not on a level to do a commission meeting or something like that. Hold small meetings, whatnot. We have some capability between our regional offices and Kidsky right now, but not here.
Yeah, we do have a monitor here, and we have some capability to do video conferencing. But again, even a small conference is the bandwidth becomes an issue, even with 1 monitor at this office. So right now, we have the Kidsky office has equipment, Elko has equipment, and we did upgrade their capabilities, and Vegas has it also. Not big enough to support a commission meeting, but certainly big enough to support a committee, a smaller meeting. So we have that capability already, and I think that would be useful for the committee meetings.
Once you get it in place, it's obviously gonna save money.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Dixon, do you have something? Then hopefully we can,
For the record, Paul Dixon, Clark County Cab. I applaud Chairman, or Vice Chairman Lentz wanting to standardize how we do things. I think one of the things that I've seen in Clark County, at least since I've been on the board, is that other counties get secretarial support for doing things. And Clark County has, because of in years past being flush, paid for that and never asked for it. But as budgets have become tight and other things, Clark County has been increasingly pressuring me to cover support. And so when you put late agenda items on your agenda, which you're fully justified to do to get them out to the public and stuff, for many of us in the cabs, we cannot get those on our agendas because of OML and trying to have our meetings before yours. Therefore, I would love to have a special meeting, even a teleconference meeting. And I've been told in Clark County I can't even have a telephonic conference meeting with a one agenda item so we can give you comment back to this commission on things that got late agendized because they were late coming to you. And for that reason, I really feel strongly that I need to get some administrative support. In many other counties, as you pointed out by Jim Jenny, it's $250 a month for them. Well, multiply 250 by 12, that's $2,700 roughly, and that's basically what I had asked for and had been turned down for. And as pointed out earlier, you have the additional legislative committee meeting that the counties are going to want to be involved in. That's very important. And I know the counties would be extremely interested in the Windover joint meeting with Utah and being able to attend that, and those aren't budgeted in. So I think that you're low by a lot. And I think that travel for Clark County, I think we have 2 meetings scheduled there a year. The rest of it, most of the meetings are in the northern part of the state, and that's a tremendous hurdle. Outside of Reno, you're basically driving because you don't have any other way to get there, and driving is expensive, and you're talking 600 to 800 mile round trips. Thank you.
Mr. Mendy?
Candido Mendy, Elko. I would ask that your comment about making us use the standardized form is great, but you're working with volunteers. And we herd like sheep. We all go in different directions. But I do think that what you could really do, in March, you've got cab training.
Yes.
Make it a big point to get everybody that's new used to seeing these forms. I've been on the cab now for 5 years, and this is going to be my first time with a budget, and these forms are new to me. So if you could really get a lot of this information to the cabs, to the younger cab, the newer cab members, and get them used to seeing this stuff and working with it and understanding it, you're going to go a lot farther to getting cooperation than trying to push us old sheep around. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? We close public comment on this item. All right, close the public hearing on item number 21 and bring this back. This isn't.
I think
Go ahead.
can I make a motion to send it over to the next commission meeting after Patrick Cates has had time to work out numbers?
Mr. Chairman,
Is that okay? We have a motion. Do we want to discuss it or?
Well, it hasn't
Well,
been
Yeah, discuss it, you get a second.
Yeah, that's.
We can't hear back here.
but
What is-
I think what he's
Go ahead.
talking about is an immediate, because you've got bills that are unpaid and that, and this was designed to cover that.
You can't discuss the motion until it's seconded. It hasn't been seconded.
All right, we're just on to the next thing, so it was not, I think motion died? Motion died. All right.
Okay, it seems to me like we ought to deal with this recommended augmentation today. These other issues can be agendized for a future meeting, so for that reason, I'm going to move that we adopt the recommended augmentation in item number 21.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the budget status report and augmentation. We'll get chance as approved, and the augmentation is the amount of $908 for Lyon County. As we have questions on the motion.
Oh, yeah, I guess my question was going to be, is it the 908 or is it the 4,500?
I think the
Because
the motion was for 908. Does everybody understand the motion?
Well,
Questions on the
that's
motion?
what we have in
Comments?
front of us.
Go ahead.
Kind of question, I'm gonna vote against it because I think it should go back because he said he's 4,500 short and we're just gonna have to deal with it again. So why not deal with it one time at the next commission meeting? Because this isn't gonna solve the problem.
All right, Mr. Cavan, comment, question?
I would say we have to at least augment this to get Lyon County current with their bills. And if 908, the question is 908 going to get them through until the February meeting? Or
So we had a question.
how much do they need
so
to
a
get
question,
to the
Mr.
February
Jennings, if
meeting?
you could help us, is 908 going to be sufficient to, Janae, excuse me, to bring us up through February meeting?
Let me hit the magic buttons here. And roughly another.
balances his checkbook, too.
That's why I have a wife. I couldn't convince her to do this. The $900 will just cover us.
Okay,
Okay, so that'll cover us through February meeting, and we can,
have a meeting agenda.
okay, can agendize that for future meeting. Okay, thank you, appreciate the assistance. All right, is this clear for the commission? Motion's clear? All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by stating nay. Or nay. Okay, we have 7 in favor, 1 opposed. Mr. Lent opposed. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to item number 22, Commission Regulations Action.